Okay, so let's talk about designing your logo. All right, let's jump right into this. So my goal for you today is to confidently design and build an awesome logo for your business. You don't need previous design experience. You don't even need to know how to use any software or tools for what we're going to do today. I know I certainly didn't know how to use any, so I built this in a way that you can get your logo off the ground. You can start thinking about your brand and building your brand and the other key components after this. So we're going to provide some actionable steps here to actually building your logo. All right, so you have a name, you have a business, now it's time to build your brand. The logo is the focal point of your brand, it's the visual aspect of your brand. All right, so let's jump into it. Designing your company logo. So here you can see a bunch of examples of some of the student entrepreneurs that we've featured in our network. So we've talked about various different companies here. We got Student Garage Cleaning, Local Student, Northern Home Care, D&B Property Services, Clean Clearwater Detailing, Andy Toman Lawn Services, One Cedar, and Team Odd Job. So we have a bunch here, and you can see that they're all very different. They've all chosen their own style. They're all pretty unique, but they're all pretty cool. I really like a lot of them. So check these out. These should be a good source of inspiration and to show you that you can design a logo pretty, keeping it simple, keeping it basic. These are companies that have had success in the industry, and these are the logos that they've used. You can see various styles. You can see Andy here has chosen to make a fancy letter out of the A in his name. Northern Home Care has made the N at the focal point with a mountain in the background signifying the north aspect of them. Student Garage Cleaning, they got the garage. They show the visual right there. Local Student, they got the local symbol or the location symbol with the student hat in the middle. D&B Property Services, you can see that they're clearly in the construction business. They do construction related work, so they got the bulldozer right there. Or actually, I don't even know. I forget what that one's called. They got that there. Clean Car Oakville, very synergistic logo. Clean car, it's reverse black and white colors there, and very clean and very slick. You got Clearwater Detailing. They've mixed in the water. They're a car detailing company, so they mixed in the water. They got a car here. The name is fully present there. And One Cedar, we clearly see the water, so we know it has something to do with something water related. So it's probably a cleaning service, and it's a window cleaning service. So that's what it's all about. And Team Odd Job, you got a student with their thumb up, and they got the name right there in big font. So you can see they've all chosen a different approach. They've all chosen there's some purpose behind all their logos. They all have a unique style, unique fonts, unique pictures and visuals. So I hope these can give you some inspiration. So let's get to some steps designing our logo. So before designing, let's do some brainstorming. All right, so we're going to brainstorm first. We don't have to feel too much pressure about sketching out our perfect design yet. We're going to just think about it first. So the first thing we want to think about is how you plan to use your logo. So where it's actually going to be. So probably the most popular places that you're going to have it are your business card, which is going to be something that you give out to a lot of people. Your flyer, which is your primary marketing source when you first get started. Your website, which is going to obviously be the main center of your digital source where people go to see your business, and your social media accounts. So thinking about where that's going to be on your social media accounts, probably the profile picture. So we're going to think about the icon. And with that in mind, do we want to build multiple logos? Do we want to have a long form logo, and then do we want to have a smaller icon version for our profile pictures? Something to keep in mind. Maybe we don't want to do all that work, so we want to maybe design our logo in a way that it can go in icon form very simply, but maybe we are happy to have two versions, a longer form and a shorter form. Everyone has their own style, and there's no wrong answer here. You want to make it something that you like and something that you think will resonate and represent your brand. So another thing we want to think about in our brainstorming is what your brand identity is built off of. So we want to think back to our value proposition and what's going to make us different. What is really the pillars of our brand? So for us here, student-owned business is big. So I've used my example as Matt's car cleaning. So my unique passion for car cleaning. So that was something that we built out into my story, into something that I was going to use as a key value proposition. My interest for cars, the fact that I love cars, and car cleaning is a service I offer to be around cars and get to experience being around them and using different different products within them and just learning about cars in general. And then high energy enthusiasm. So that's gonna be part of the student-owned business side. I want to be loud. I want to be vocal. I'm making a splash in my industry. I want to be the new kid on the block or the new business on the block, and we're gonna come in with a new high energy and enthusiasm for the service. We're trustworthy. So with my business, we want to establish. For me, Matt's car cleaning. I want to establish that Matt is trustworthy. I'm a trustworthy guy, and we want to make sure that we're seen as reliable and good for good for coming through with what we promise. When we say satisfaction guarantee, we mean it. We're going to go back. We're going to make sure we're going to get the job done right. And lastly, quick and convenient service. So we want to show that, we want to think about that when we're building our logo. Convenience is going to be a big part of our value add. We see that there's a lot of car cleaning businesses out there, but our biggest differentiator is that we're new. We don't have a full schedule. We're going to be eager to get their business right away, and we're going to do next day or same week delivery of our services. So how can we incorporate these into our logo? How can we think about these? Thinking about when you're building your logo, thinking if there's any way that you can incorporate or at least pick one that you want to sort of align with your brand directly, and think about that in the symbolism that you're presenting within your logo. So let's start designing here. So we're going to go through a design process. There's a couple stages here that I hope help you. These are some of the things that I found really a really great guiding force in building my logo. So what style of logo do you want? There's different styles here, so you can do just fonts. As you can see here, you can do a font plus a meaning, so you can have different as we saw with for example Andy's logo. He made the A representative of a it looked like a tree or something related to a service. So font plus meaning. Handmade, so more of a sort of a slick logo. Kind of reminds me of the clean car logo. Font with a shape, so that's something that we see a lot. That was something that we saw with Northern Home Care. We saw the N in the middle, and we saw the background with the mountain. Silhouette symbol, so that's just an icon or some sort of logo. Same thing here, some sort of icon or logo or picture underneath the brand name. Something very simple. We can do that easily. Initials, so having the initials above the logo, so having the name here and then just the initials. That's something that's been used. And maybe just an abstract logo, so we have a generic icon not related to our service. Maybe it is related, but it's more of a generic abstract art form there next to our company name. These two I don't love, but these are all great options up here. They're really representative of modern day logos, and they have the ability to customize them a little bit. These ones are a little bit more generic and might seem a little bit less professional, but again, the logo is something that's totally up to you. It's something that I want it to really be something that you're comfortable with and you like for your brand. So what color do you want that logo to be? So these are some colors that you have options for. Obviously, there's variations of different colors here, but these are some meanings that I've attached to these colors. So red typically means passion, anger, love, confidence. It's really a loud color. It reaches out to you. It attracts your eyeballs, and it pulls an emotion out of you. You can't look at red and not feel a certain way. So it's very powerful focus. Yellow is typically a happy, energetic, sunshine. Blue, typically is more calming, trust, power. It's more of a relaxing tone. White, typically, in our culture, and these go across culture. Some cultures see these colors differently, but in North America, typically white is a symbol of peace and balance, purity, simplicity. In other areas, it can represent death and things like that. So, want to make sure that we're mindful of that when we're thinking about our brand and our target customers. Here in North America, that's typically what white symbolizes. Black is more of a modern look, more of a sleek look. If you think of the clean car logo that we're just looking at, very sleek, very sharp, very modern, powerful, a little bit mysterious, intrigues you a little bit. Pink, love, romance, feminine. It's something that you maybe see sometimes, but it's not typically as popular unless your brand is typically or specifically oriented towards women or towards that demographic, towards a specific demographic within women. Or even just certain men as well. But pink is less common in logos because it is more of a niche. It really does attract a certain type of person. It might deter another type of person. Orange typically represents youthful cheer, warmth. This version of orange is a little bit lighter, but orange can also be sort of one of those colors that is a little bit more neutral. So you can see that for example with Tangerine Bank, it's sort of a neutral modern look. And then green, nature, balance, cleanliness, money, it comes to mind with green as well. Purple, technology, deep, powerful. So one of those darker purples, especially, is as a way to is really to attract the eyeball or the eye again. Gray, neutral, sophistication, wisdom. Some of those things that come out with gray. Brown, earth, stability, tradition, nature. You really think of earth when you think of brown, so it's a rustic vibe, sort of an old school vibe. Turquoise, compassion, healing. This is I'm also getting a little bit more popular in the modern as a as a more of a modern brand. Branding is at least my association with it. So play around with these colors, see what even just looking at the colors without these descriptions, think about what you think about when you see these colors. What comes to mind for you? These are some of the examples that I've said. For me, I tend to agree with most of the things that they've said in the or that's been written in these descriptions. And what I've seen online from, obviously when I'm looking up colors, I'm seeing online what they say, what the emotional reaction is from those colors and what that triggers. But everyone's a little bit differently, depending on your background, your age, your demographic, what your interests are, your prior associations with these colors, other brands you think of when you think of these colors. There's a lot of other associations that you can have. So just think about that in mind and put some thought into what your color is, what you really like as a color. So looks like I repeated there. So when you find a color that you like, find out the color hex code. So that's what you're going to need to do when you're actually designing the logo. So let's say you choose a color, you find the perfect variation of that color. Say you choose navy blue, and you Google it. You Google navy blue and you see a bunch of variations, and you finally pick one that you really like and you want to choose. Use this tool right here. This is the link right here. And it basically what you can do is you can screenshot that color that you have, or just take the picture of the one that you have, and you can upload it literally right here for free. You upload it and it produces the hex code. So the color hex code is something that that you're going to need when you're actually designing the logo, or if we're going to get through this to the next stage. But if you're getting someone to design the logo, they're going to need to know the hex code. And every single color on this planet has a hex code. So every single color will have a unique code, and the more complex color it is, the more variation you have in that hex code. Every single color has a hex code. So it's an easy tool to use. You download the image, you screenshot the image, you upload it to this website, and they'll tell you the hex code. It's completely free, very easy to use. So next, think about what font you're thinking. So think about, these are some examples here. There's a lot of examples. But think about the fonts. You might not be too particular, but you at least want to have a general sense of what type of font that you want to have. At least thinking like, is it going to be bold? Is it going to be italic? Is it going to be underlined? Is it going to be, is it going to just be plain like serif here, like an Arial or a Times New Roman kind of thing? Or is it going to be more, techno? Is it going to be more, thinking more techie? There's a lot of different fonts there, decorative. Similar there, retro, grunge, all these types of options here. So think about what kind of font that you're thinking of when you picture your logo. And what I would say with font is choose something that's easy to read. The last thing you want is a logo where you can't read it right away. You want to grab the attention of the viewer, and you want them to know exactly what your business's name or what you do is right away. You don't want someone to have to squint and really try to read it, especially if you think about the uses. And that's why we talk about the uses first. Think about a social media icon. So your picture, your profile picture, is it going to be something that's legible? It's going to be easy for people to read right away and see your business name, or is it going to be something they have to, they have to squint, they have to download the image to see it, they have to ask you what the business's name is. You don't want something that's too complicated. I'm personally, with that being said, I'm a little bit against script or handwritten, because those are not the easiest to see. You want something that's clean cut and clear. You'll notice a lot of logos nowadays, if they do have font in them, usually it's a very clear, typically bold font that stands out right away. There's no ambiguity about what the name of the business is. You definitely want that as a huge priority for your logo. If you are going to have writing, you don't need to have writing, but if you do have writing, that's very important. What theme are you going for? So the theme, when we're thinking about our theme options, here's a couple. There's obviously different options, but these are a couple of popular ones. So you got the Royal Sophisticated. I don't love that. More old school. So then you got the minimal. So I think minimalist is actually getting a little more in style when it comes to logo. Just having less is more with the logo. We'll show an example of that. So minimal, definitely a decent option. Fun, that could really represent your energy and your enthusiasm. So that was one of the differentiators that we were talking about, is establishing that that new enthusiastic energy. And with that fun logo, people might associate that with your brand, or they definitely will associate that with your brand. It might be a good idea. And of course, when you see this, you can choose a theme, but it doesn't have to actually be something that looks like this. It just be the general theme. Then there's corporate. See, I don't like, so this one right here is an example of one I don't like in terms of the font. It's something that I like. Obviously, I can read when I look at it, but like the D, I'm wondering if that's an O. The infinite, no, there's no dot in the I, so I don't even know. That kind of seemed like a symbol at first. It's just really difficult for me to read that. I can't even read productions underneath it, so I don't love that. I don't love the fact that it's like that. But corporate is an option. You can have a professional, clean cut corporate logo. Depends what your brand's trying to represent. That might represent some professionalism if you're really trying to go professional and not emphasize anything else. But that's just, yeah, so that's an option. Artistic, that can definitely fit your persona and your brand if that's something that let's say for example you're a painting business and you specialize in doing cool designs and things like that. That could be some sort of artistic or some sort of some sort of element of art to your brand in terms of what you offer. That might be a good way to convey that. Web 2.0, so this is a little bit modern. This actually kind of looks a little bit old considering it's Web 2.0. So it's a little bit, looks a little bit old school almost. It's kind of cool. Feminine, you got beauty, cream there. I think it says cream. And yeah, so that's something, I think for me, I associate that more with a product than I do a service. So that's something to keep in mind. This as well, I associate that with like a wedding or like an event, something like that, like a hotel, hospitality. This is more of a product. So I don't love this design, but you can definitely go with a feminine design if that's representative of what your brand's differentiator is, and that's your target market. That's who you want to be seen by. It's definitely an option. Then there's the masculine. Again, this is something I don't love. This is something I sort of associate with. It almost looks like a car or like a clothing brand. So it doesn't really necessarily look like a service. So I don't love that either. And then traditional, I hate this. I have no idea what that says, and this is just not even worth talking about. So these are some options in terms of themes, and this is something that you can just think about it, in terms of general theme and using this as kind of a sort of like a template. So if you like the idea of one of these themes but you don't love what you see, so let's say you love corporate, well, you can look up like corporate themed logos on Google Images, and you can use that as a general theme, and you'll see lots of options. All right, so you can use this as a placeholder template. You don't have to love any of these logos, but you can get an idea with what kind of themes there are out there. All right, so if you're still stuck after doing all that, we've kind of walked through quite a bit here. There's actually some cool logo generator tools online, just like when we were talking about creating your business name. You can come with a business name online. You can also come with a logo. Really cool. Canva is a great tool. Use Canva for a lot of content creation. One thing with Canva is they don't have overly sophisticated logos. I mean, that's actually pretty good. I mean, I don't want to talk too much smack. I actually, for an initiative charity project that I was working on, I actually used Canva's logo maker. It's called COVID Cleanup Project. If you search that up, there's an Instagram page. You can check out that logo. That's sort of the logo options you'll get. It's very simple. It's not super complex. So Canva is a good tool. Wix is also pretty cool. We're using Wix for later on. We're gonna be talking about building our website. We're gonna use Wix for that. So Wix is actually, they got the full suite here in terms of building your logo and helping you get your website off the ground. And Wix is pretty cool because you literally just type in a word and they'll give you some options and you can go from there. So it's pretty cool. Hatchful, I thought was a really awesome tool. I've never had any experience with it myself, but it's a Shopify store, and it's for me. I navigated a bit, searched a bit. I liked it a lot, so it's pretty cool. Logo Maker is kind of the last resort. Logo Maker, you actually build your own logo, so they just have some graphics. They have some different tools, so it's sort of like an Adobe Illustrator, but like a very simple version of it. I don't love that tool, but if you do want to more so drag and drop and play around with it a little bit more, rather than just having options presented to you, this might be a decent tool. You can also just Google, free logo making tools. These are some of my favorites that I've filtered out. Other than this, other than Logo Maker, I don't love that. But I'd definitely start, Canva if you already have it. Canva is great. Wix is great as well. And this new one that I found, Hatchful, looks like it's got a lot of potential. So if you need to start there, great place to start. Think about it. Once you're doing that, you can also revert back to some of the slides that we've covered. So the theme, the font style, the image that you're thinking about, and then just like generally what you want the logo to convey. So what your unique brand identity is all about. Think about the colors, think about how those make you feel. You can revert back as you're actually in the process of using these tools, and you don't necessarily need to use these tools to be one and done. You won't have to necessarily get a logo off these and commit to that. You can get a logo off these and then you can build from there. So you can maybe sketch it out and see like what you can do in terms of drawing. You might be someone who likes to draw and has lots of ideas once they see something in front of them. I'm not like that. I suck at drawing, but if you are someone who's good at drawing, it might be an option for you to consider. So then, yeah. So if you're still stuck, go here. But we're going to continue along the process here. So the action now is to start sketching or mapping out what you want your logo to look like. So this is up to you now to take the lead on this. I would encourage you to definitely use this slide. You definitely use the slides. Check out some of the other student entrepreneurs, what they've done. Investigate their logo. See what it's all about. Just see like the little nuances that you can notice in their logo. When you take a second look at a logo, you can start to see the little things. So think about when you first saw the logo, what kind of reaction it induced in you, and then afterwards you take a second look and you can see sort of why it induced that reaction. So you can see the color scheme, see the words, you can see the font styles, themes, colors, all those sorts of things involved in it. So play around with it, have fun with it, use those tools, and use our design sort of system that we've built here. But nonetheless, we're going to keep moving on. So if you have an idea for what your logo wants to look like at this point, then this is the time to continue. If you don't, pause this video, start to do some of the things that you've seen already, maybe rewind, use the, obviously we upload all the slides into your drive anyway, so you got access to the slideshow, you can check it out. But right now we're going to move on and actually get this logo created. So for me, my experience when we actually built our first logo, we had no idea how to build a logo, no experience with software, anything like that. There wasn't really a lot of free tools out there. That was about 5 years ago. So it wasn't as many free tools, or they were not built out as much. So we actually we actually went and did a contest on Freelancer. So I'm going to talk about some of the options that you have to actually get the logo built. But I can say honestly that I've never personally built a logo myself, but I've done a lot of different companies with a lot of different logos, and I've gotten them designed for the maximum I've paid is $20. So we're going to talk about that right now. We're actually going to get the logo created. So the options for logo creation, the main three, really the only three that you should consider are: number one, design this yourself using an online illustration software you have experience with. So if you're someone who has a lot of experience with Adobe Illustrator or a different tool that's similar to that, then by all means create your own logo. That's a really cool experience. I would really encourage you to tap into that. Use this as an experience to practice, refine your skills, gain those skills a little bit, and especially if it's something that a skill set you want to pursue on the side, or something you want to pursue in the longer term. Definitely not a bad idea to get some experience with your own logo first. But that being said, if you don't know how to use those softwares, not a problem. I don't think it's worth really diving into right now if you don't have the background in it or if you don't have the interest. So the other options you can think about are asking a friend or someone online to help you out. So there's actually a lot of people nowadays with Instagram pages who are getting into illustrations, who are getting into logo creation, and it's very easy to spot these online. There's a couple of my own network. I've had people draw cartoons of me. So there's different people like that who do that, who actually design logos. So you can actually, just use your Instagram, check out, especially like marketing, people with marketing companies, people with creative agencies, things like that. You can check them out, maybe get some inspiration from their pages, maybe just talk to them a little bit and see what their process is all about. See if the idea that you've put together for your logo is something they can create, and if they can create it relatively quickly. Or maybe you have a friend. If you have a friend, that's perfect. Your friend will probably do the best work for you. They're going to take pride in their work, and they're probably going to be a little bit more respectful of the process. So they're going to be really nice to you, and they're going to really give you a good experience because it's your friend. You don't want to let your friend down. The last option, the last resort, if you don't have these options, is to hire a freelancer. So I'm going to talk about that process because the other ones are a little bit more self-explanatory or self-guided. So hiring a freelancer is something that I actually did for Matt's car cleaning when I was putting together this hypothetical startup for this program and designed Matt's car cleaning. I did quite a bit for it. So one of the things I did was design a logo. So I actually have a video for that. I'm going to put it in your drive so you have access to that video. We're not going to present it right now. It's about a 10-minute video. I basically go through the whole process of hiring a freelancer on freelancer.com. All right, so if you're hiring someone to create your logo, consider a couple things first. First one is communicate as clearly as possible with what you're looking for. So this is why the planning stage is so important. A lot of people, especially new businesses, don't want to think too much about their logo if they're not marketing oriented. They don't want to think too much about it, so they just go to a marketing agency or they just go to a freelancer and they basically say, create a logo for me. I don't have any ideas, create a logo for me. That's the worst thing that a creative person can hear. For me, I have a lot of friends that do creative agencies, do marketing agencies, and I've worked with marketing agencies and freelancers. And the last thing that they want to hear is just, for them to just take on all the responsibility for your project. They want communication, they want a clear objective with what you're looking for. They like to be creative within those constraints, within those structures and those guidelines that you provide, but you want to have a decent idea of what your logo is going to look like before you approach a freelancer. That's why the planning stage is important, because you're going to waste a lot of time going to freelancers and really not getting anywhere with it, not really getting a lot of return on investment for your experience there, because you're just going to talk to so many people and you're going to get the same responses. They're going to ask you what you're looking for. They're going to ask you what theme you want, what font you want, what color you want. They're going to ask you all these questions anyway. So it's good to come in with a plan, and by the time you're going to them, you literally have, ideally you have a sketch, and you're just presenting that to them saying, here's my sketch, here's the theme, here's the font, here's the color, here's the hex code for that color, and here's my timeline, here's what I want, when I want it done, and here's the price I'm willing to pay. If you approach someone with that, that's the best approach that someone who does this work can get, because they're basically just going to put their skills to work, they're going to get it done quickly, and they have an easy customer in the bag. It's a win-win-win. All right, so communicate as clearly as possible with what you're looking for. Don't leave it open-ended. Don't just tell them, do whatever you want, or just be creative with it. They don't want to hear that. They want to have some directions and some guidelines. All right, next is set a clear deadline for completion and be responsive with questions. So be very clear with the timeline you're looking for. You don't want to wait forever for this logo. If you're open-ended, especially if you're using a friend or someone online and that you just met on Instagram, it's really a painful process. If you want to be chill, you want to say, you be flexible. We're not launching for a little bit, so we have some time. But not having a logo is going to hold you back in a lot of ways from the things that we're talking about moving forward. So having a logo done ASAP is going to be critical for you getting to the next stages of this section and the next stages of the program. So set a clear deadline, make it a short deadline, and at least when you get the first version, you can refine it, you look at it, you can make changes, you make tweaks. The whole creative process always lasts a little bit longer than you anticipate. Next, agree on a price ahead of time. So definitely don't leave it up to the person to tell you what they charge afterwards. Don't let them tell you it's going to be by the amount of time that they spend on it. It's not cool, because they can make that up and they can tell you whatever time they want. Don't have an hourly rate. Have a price for the project. Give them clear directions. And I would say my rule of thumb for this, especially when you're starting up, is do not pay more than $20 for your logo design right now. We've already gone through our business planning. We've talked about financial projections. You have an idea of what it costs to run your business. There is some serious costs. Do not spend a lot on your logo. A logo is something you can literally get for free. You can design yourself. And if you are hiring someone to do it, you're literally doing most of the work. It should take them less than an hour. So if there's not someone who's willing to work for $20 an hour or $20 for half an hour, they're not the right person to design your logo. All right, so keep in mind it's the first version of your logo. I want you to really, think about the fact that you're just getting off the ground, you're an early entrepreneur, you're just getting started, you haven't even gotten your first customer yet. So don't make it the state of the art, or don't dwell on focusing on making it be the state of the art logo. You can always create a new one. Lots of companies change their logo and rebrand as they go. It's a very common thing. Most companies that we see out there today have done it. I'm going to show you an example. So here's Apple. Here's Apple's logo history. Look at this puppy right here. That is Apple's original logo. You can see it lasted a year. Steve Jobs was not quite the gifted business mind he turned out to be, because that is just a horrendous logo. So the symbolism behind this logo, I love it. It's an indication of the biblical story of the Adam and Eve and the apple tree. So the apple is supposed to be representative of that, and the computer is supposed to be a new concept, and it links to their brand of being different, taking a chance, being a little bit rebellious, doing things like that. So they quickly changed to an actual apple, and as you can see that nowadays their logo is the most simple it has ever been. It is extremely basic. That's the general theme that companies are headed towards, and they typically head towards that as they become more mature, as they get more brand recognition, they build their brand, they simplify their logo. So if you want to get ahead at the start, just keep it simple right off the bat. Don't make it super complicated. You're going to eventually hate your logo if it's like that. The simpler, the better. And I'm sure Apple paid millions of dollars to have someone analyze their logo, pilot it, beta it, talk to people about it, do all this process. Probably cost them millions of dollars to come up with this logo in 2017. So keep it simple. Don't overthink it. All right, so if you are going to hire a freelancer, we talked about that being a primary option. Here are two great places to find them. I mean, if you type in find a freelancer on Google, you have a million options. You have lots of places you can go. These are my two favorite because I've tried them both, used them both several times. They're extremely reliable for this type of project. I like other freelance websites. For example, Upwork. I really love Upwork, but I don't like it for small, quick projects like this. I like Upwork for larger scale projects. As we grow our business, we talk about using freelancers. There's a ton of opportunity to use freelancers to use their specialties. Everyone has a specialty. You want to make use of that. You can ultimately leverage the fact that there's freelancers in all different stages. There's ones just starting out. There's ones that are way advanced in their career and charge a lot of money, and there's everyone in between. So there's lots of freelance options, but these are the two that I like a lot. By all means, choose a freelance website you like, but these are two great options. Freelancer.com is great because, as I said before, I've used this, and you can actually post a contest. So posting a contest is an option that they have, and basically what happens is you set a budget, you set a time, you describe what you want your logo to look like, you provide the color, you provide the design as much as you want. You don't even have to provide anything if you don't want to, but you provide as much as you want, and you set a deadline, and you set everything, and then you post a contest, and people just submit entries. So people literally just enter the contest with designs of logos. So by doing this, you get a lot of options at your disposal. There's going to be a lot of terrible options, don't get me wrong, because you're going to set the budget really low. I've never set a budget more than $20. So you set it really low, get a lot of terrible options, but you'll also get some really cool ones, and maybe some of those bad options will stimulate some ideas for a better option. And what you can do is you can choose one you like, and you can actually work with that freelancer to edit it a little bit, make it a little bit better, refine it, and have a final product afterwards. So that's something I've done. I did that with Matt's car cleaning logo, which we'll show you throughout this program. And I'll also share you guys the video of my process going through Freelancer. It's actually kind of a fun process. You get to post a contest and people are actually competing for your business. There's a messaging tool, so you're getting messages, you're getting all kinds of things. It's really cool to see people actually take an interest and want to build your logo. The other website here, it's a really long logo. But this is the actual link to getting your logo designed. So it's the page of Freelancer specifically for logo design. It's called Fiverr. They started off being a $5 platform, so every freelance project that you could ever post was $5. Not like that anymore. Fortunately, prices go up. So it's usually around. I think the last project I did on Fiverr was around $20, but you can get probably as low as $8, $9. So Fiverr is really cool. It just makes it really easy to get low cost, quick freelance work done. So like a logo, and you could just like go through the platform. You can go see the different freelancers. You can see their portfolios. So they share you some past work that they've done. You can pick one. I would pick, if you're choosing a freelancer specifically and you're not just posting a contest, if you're actually just choosing a freelancer, I would recommend choosing someone who's local, or at least someone in Canada or United States, someone who understands how businesses work here, and how people see things, and like just general sense of how things work. If you choose someone from a different country, they sometimes don't understand the little nuances, sometimes difficult to communicate with them. So it saves you a lot of time and energy in the process if you just can talk more candidly with someone who's a freelancer and local. All right, so get to designing your logo. That's what it's time for. You've now mapped it out. You've gone through some tips or tricks and building your logo, and you've gone through the options. So now it's time to get your logo designed. That's going to be your number one priority right now before you move forward, because a lot of the stuff in this section or in this unit is going to talk about using that logo, or it's going to involve using that logo. It's not going to be talking about it, but we're going to use your logo for other things. So we're going to design uniforms. We're going to get onto websites, social media, all these cool, fun aspects after you get that logo design. So make that a priority. Get that done as soon as possible. And remember, it's a process. If you're hiring someone to do it or you're working with someone to do it, it's going to be a process to work with them. So initiate that process as quickly as possible. Be stringent with the deadlines. And like always, post in the network, post in the Start Smart network if you do have any questions, or if you just want other people to give you feedback on your logo. It's definitely a great idea. I'm happy to give you feedback on your logo as well. So by all means, send me a message through the platform there, and we'll all take a look. Post it on the discussion board. We want to see your logos, and maybe you can inspire other people by your logo design if you're a little bit ahead of the game. So get to it. Get your logo done. It's going to be it's going to be fun, but it's also going to be really important to get us to the next stage. All right, so good luck. Have fun with it. We'll chat soon. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.